Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Kara Corey here, registered dietitian, here to provide you with science-based, sustainable tips. And today's video is all about weight loss. So I asked recently on YouTube, you can do the little polls, what was your biggest struggle right now that you were working on? And I gave you an option of 5 different things. About 67% of you said your biggest struggle was with weight loss. And I think I had over 500 people respond to this poll. So nearly 2/3 of you out there were working on weight loss and struggling with it. With seeing those results for today's video, I wanted to dive further into this and give you all some really easy practical tips that you can walk away with that are guaranteed to help you lose weight and start to see results in as little as 1 week. And now, before you start going off that Kara is a fad diet promoter, what is she doing? I know the anti-diet culture dietitians would just hate that I'm discussing weight loss. And to that I say, excuse me, but weight loss is something that we need to talk about, especially if we are dietitians. What I'm going to provide for you today are some easy tips, but also know that what I preach and promote is sustainability. So what you may take away from this video could be different than the next person watching this video. You have to think about your own situation. And that leads me to, before we get into the tips, deep diving into yourself. The very first thing you have to do if you want to lose weight, if you're struggling with weight loss, or maybe you've lost weight and you're in your maintenance phase, maybe you're trying to gain weight. So these strategies are going to be applicable to different walks of life here. But the first thing you have to do is really deep dive into you and where you are currently at. Before you can start any goal, you have to do a self-assessment. Oftentimes we skip right over that. No, I want to reach this goal. I want to do whatever it takes. You can't do that if you want this to work for the long term. So please listen to me when I say, do not skip this part being the pre-assessment prior to trying to lose weight. This may be the most important part that I share with you. Got the dogs supporting us today back here. This is a very important step, this very important stage that many of us skip over, is really assessing what stage of change we're at. If you don't do this, you could be setting yourself up to fail. You could end up yo-yoing, going on your diet, off your diet, all that stuff we want to avoid. So you need to assess, where are you at right now? So I want you to ask yourself the following questions. Number 1, how motivated are you? And yes, we know motivation does not last. It's fleeting, it's here, it's there, it's gone. But at this present moment, how truly motivated are you to get started with everything? And you have to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then there's no point in doing any of this. And I will tell you, many people are not honest with themselves with what we're actually doing. So I really need you to take me seriously here and be honest with yourself. How motivated are you? With that in mind, how distracted are you with other priorities? And I'm not here saying that you should put off working towards your goals or working towards your weight loss goals, but quite honestly, shit happens in life and certain things occur and they do take priority. They definitely take priority. Whether you have a loved one that's sick, whether you're taking care of a family member, your job is about to change, you're moving. Things happen in life, and sometimes trying to prioritize a new weight loss program is just not the best timing. It sets you up for failure, and you may say, what's the harm in trying though, sis? But what can happen is you're going to end up getting flustered with yourself, falling off the wagon, and it can just make it that much more discouraging to get started again. We want this to be a lifestyle change for the long term, so please wait until it really aligns best with your lifestyle. I need you to think about, are you ready and willing to learn new strategies? Are you someone that is coping with food as a means of dealing with emotions? If you are you willing to learn some new strategies? Are you willing to adapt certain things in your lifestyle? Are you willing to change your fitness routine? Are you willing to maybe try new foods and new eating behaviors? How willing and ready are you to actually make the changes? Because it's one thing to just want to lose weight. I know plenty of people that chronically want to lose weight. It's another thing to be that person that says, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. I need to do the things to change my lifestyle for the long term. You have to be at that place and be willing and open to seeing those things and making those changes. With all those things said and in mind, you may be ready to attack your weight loss goals, your weight loss program. The biggest thing I'm going to need you to do now is truly deep dive into you, into yourself. So I can't even sit here and list out for you what things you may be doing that need to change, but I need you to take an honest inventory of your life. Take a look at an average week, just kind of think back to the past week. And why don't you list down in the comments for me what your biggest struggle is right now with trying to lose weight? We all have them, even if we're not trying to lose weight. There's things that deter us. There's things that challenge us, maybe in our everyday life, maybe on the weekends. What is your biggest struggle? I know for me, when I was entering in a weight loss phase before, one of the biggest things that I noticed about myself when I took an inventory was my biggest struggle was the late afternoon at work, Monday through Friday, not on the weekend. It was 100% a work-related trigger that about 3 to 4 p.m. would hit, and it would be this struggle that I wasn't sure if I was truly hungry or if I was bored or stressed out. I didn't know what it was, but that tended to be my snacky time where things could kind of derail me and set me up for failure. So with that information, I set up a plan. I put a plan in action to help, number one, identify when that time hit, because sometimes you don't even realize it's occurring. Number two, I set up some actions to assist me if that occurred. I started preparing things that were going to be like my backup arsenal of snacks, or I brought some hot tea to work with me, bag of veggies, some extra things to really zhuzh up my meals during the day. I put these things in action in effort to not get in the way of my weight loss program. The other thing you need to be prepared to do with all of this is be willing to change your perspective. We are stubborn as adults, and many times we don't want to change our perspective, and it's not always easy to just shift and change your mindset when we've felt certain things about our actions, how that makes us feel on the inside. It's not easy to shift that. So you have to be willing to see things from a different perspective, knowing you will have setbacks. Everyone has setbacks, all right? The fittest of the fit has had setbacks. We all do. And it's those of us that learn how to deal with them and shift our perspective in those scenarios versus just seeing it as you're a total failure, I might as well give up. And oftentimes that is where we go. So you need to be willing to shift the perspective in effort to keep it moving, keep working towards your goals. Now, I want to give you my practical tips for you to start working on this week that are definitely going to help you with losing weight. But before I do that, I'm going to need you guys to go down and make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. It is free to do so. And by doing so, it lets me know you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it. You can also hit that post notification bell. That way you don't ever miss out on my uploads, because sometimes even though you're subscribed, YouTube may not show me in your feed. So hitting that little bell is going to let you know each and every time I upload a video. Some of these tips may be things you've heard before. They may not be rocket science, but it's so interesting to me the longer that I'm in practice as a dietitian, the more that I see people getting just confused and in the weeds on stuff they don't need to be. And going back to basics with some of these tips can be really helpful to just take out some of the clutter in your mind, make it easy, dumb it down a bit, and actually that sometimes decreases your stress too, which can impact your ability to lose weight. So hear me out on these tips, because sometimes we do just need to be reminded of these things, get a little remotivation. How do you get motivated again to put things in action? Tip number one for you is making sure you start out your breakfast or your first meal, whatever that may be, with a high protein breakfast. Now, as a dietitian, I do suggest you try working protein into each and every meal and snack that you consume, because protein is very filling for us. It takes the body a bit longer to digest it. And not only that, in the process of eating a meal that's higher in protein, Are you likely to feel more full more easily? Additionally, satiety-wise, for the long term, you can have the benefit of feeling full much longer than if you didn't have any protein in that meal. So example number one, if you just have a bowl of cereal, say you have a bowl of oats, cream of rice, little bit of fruit on it and call it a day. If instead you incorporate some protein into that meal, for me, I'm thinking you have some eggs with some veggies chopped up into it to get in some fiber. But you don't have to start your breakfast with eggs either. I know some people hate eggs, and I think that's where people struggle with breakfast and protein, because everyone thinks you have to have eggs. You absolutely don't have to have eggs. I am a true believer in eat what you want. Eat what you want for breakfast. It does not have to be a typical breakfast. It doesn't have to be oats and eggs. Find something that sounds satisfying to you. I have started my day eating a grilled chicken breast before because something substantial for protein just sounded good to me. So figure out what things sound good to you. Throw out the rules you've maybe heard throughout your life or utilized that limit you with your meal choices, and really start to list out things that you enjoy, some high protein food items, because protein does tend to be the struggle, and create a way for you to incorporate those into your meals. So yes, that's true. Incorporate protein with all your meals, but really starting that first meal out is what can really shape the rest of your day with how your meal choices go. So ensuring that you're getting in enough protein is really going to help with those hormones. Ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. And when we have that protein, we also see increases in our satiety hormones, as I mentioned. So things like peptide YY, GLP-1, as well as cholecystokinin. So keeping it simple, that protein is going to help decrease your hunger hormone ghrelin, and it's going to increase those satiety hormones and can do so for hours after the fact. So figure out what you enjoy for protein, find ways to eat it for breakfast. I am the queen of eating sandwiches for breakfast because I can make it high in protein, good source of carbs. I add some veggies in there, very satisfying, starts your day out great. The other thing I want you to focus on with every meal, and this is harder than it sounds, not taking anything away from your meals, but with adding to your meals, start by shaping your plates and your meals first with fruits and vegetables. Try to increase the plants in your diet. That's also going to increase the fiber content, which fiber is very filling. We don't digest a lot of fiber. We've got soluble and insoluble. It really does help us feel fuller longer, which can definitely make it easier for weight loss, and just make it easier if you're feeling more full, more satisfied. Usually that's what helps prevent people from overindulging or eating foods they don't feel like they should be eating. It allows you to just really focus on more nutrient-dense foods. So really try to jazz up each and every one of your meals by thinking, what fruits and vegetables can I have in this meal? And that may be the only thing you work on this week that could actually really help you. I should point out, you don't have to do every single one of these tips I'm asking you to do, because sometimes people can just simply get overwhelmed. So pick a few of these to work on as you go throughout the week. But the biggest thing people don't do enough of is building meals around fruits and vegetables. We often have carbs and protein and we forget the rest. So really think about fruits and veggies and beefing those up. Additionally, the other bonus that can add to is improving your gut microbiome. So if you watched one of my last videos, I did a full meal prep on prebiotic and probiotic foods. So go back and watch that video. It'll be really helpful to you if you're not sure how to increase prebiotic and probiotic foods in your diet. But by doing so, increasing those fermented foods, the probiotics, the prebiotics, the plant-based foods, you are likely going to be improving the diversity of your gut microbiome, which we know is linked with inhibiting people from losing weight. And there's all kinds of other links that are still being researched. Things with our mental health is huge. So maybe your mental health is crap, and that's also making you depressed and making it hard for you to lose weight. There's so many interconnections within the body. So do not forget to think about how the foods that you're eating are impacting your internal health and therefore your cognitive health and what your actions are doing. maybe not a popular tip, but one that works is creating a meal plan for yourself. Create a plan. So many of us want to lose weight, but that's as far as it goes. We don't actually set those actions up for what we need to do. And simplifying can go so far. The decision fatigue that comes with food is exhausting. Have you ever dealt with that? Let me know down in the comments, because this is something that I've always benefited from when I switch over to a meal plan. And I am someone that gets sick of the same food choices very easily. But setting yourself up with a meal plan that you enjoy, and a meal plan doesn't mean you have to eat the same food every single day. It doesn't. But giving yourself that structure for knowing what you're buying from the grocery store, setting yourself up for the week, and just having those staple meals and snacks ready to go so that every day you know what you're taking with you to work, or you know what you're eating from home if you're working from home, whatever your lifestyle situation looks like. It removes all those decisions of what am I going to eat? I'm hungry. I don't know what I want. I don't know what sounds good. Instead, don't function that way. Don't wait till you get to that point. Set yourself up with balanced meals. Give it a try for 1 week. If you can't do that for 1 week, we got bigger problems here, because I know you guys can do this for at least 1 week. So create some kind of meal plan for yourself to work off of. And an easy way to do that is think about what you have been eating. Take a look at what you have been eating, what you like, and how you can modify those meals or snacks to make them a bit more healthy and satisfying to you. You don't have to start from scratch, a totally different diet. You don't need to do that. Sometimes some of those simple changes are the most effective, that you will feel the quickest. So we're talking trying to lose weight in as little as 1 week, right? So one of the things I do recommend you focus on is really removing as much of the added sugar as possible. Added sugar, much different than natural sugar. You can know the difference now. Your nutrition labels will list it out for you, added versus natural, but I'm not talking about removing fruit. I'm talking about the junk, the added sugars that we don't really need. So omitting those from your diet, even trying to reduce those artificial sweeteners as well, you will feel a little bit better. And when I talk about losing weight in a week, you don't always see it on the scale, right? But what I'm talking about is really feeling better by the end of the week, feeling the difference. And that's truly what matters. I'm not talking about weighing yourself every single day. I'm talking about making these changes that are going to make you feel better. So that reduction in added sugar could really lend itself to reducing some inflammation within the body, possibly reduce headaches if you're struggling with that. You may sleep better at night. You may find that you just have less cravings for certain things. Oftentimes when we start incorporating more fruits, more vegetables, lean proteins, omitting the refined carbs, the added sugars, we tend to just crave healthier foods. It's a beautiful thing. It actually works if you force yourself into those habits and starting to create those habits. If the meal plan thing is just not your gig, I got you. I am still a firm believer in tracking. And I think there's a lot of dietitians out there that also shit on tracking, and I am not one of them. Research supports food monitoring via some type of tracking system as one of the best tools you can utilize to help lose weight and to also maintain weight loss. And it doesn't mean you have to track for the rest of your life, but what tracking does, if you're honest with it, is brings an awareness to what you're doing and how much you're actually consuming and where you're lacking in your diet. So if you're someone that has an eating disorder history, yeah, maybe it's not for that group of people, but for everyone else who's here just trying to lose weight and become more aware of what you need to do differently. Some people just genuinely don't know. They don't understand how much they're consuming or what they're missing until they actually see it laid out in front of them. So oftentimes I do have clients not only track, but pay attention to where their numbers are. Where's the fiber at? How much sugar are you consuming? Are you getting in any vitamins? How is that looking? So tracking can just bring a very quick awareness to what you're doing. Being able to see that information allows you to make adjustments and be more mindful of, whoa, I didn't eat any vegetables on this day, or you know what, I only eat vegetables once a day and I am eating a lot of refined carbohydrates. I'm not getting in enough protein. Wow, my fiber is really low. You can think you're doing all the things very well, and it's very much eye-opening when you actually track it and see where you fall at the end of the day. I have often found too, with tracking, even since improving my relationship with food post bodybuilding, I know everyone's different when it comes to tracking. It's not about just hitting certain numbers. The food choices matter. And for myself, at least, when I track, I find that it almost motivates me a bit to be better with my food choices and to be more well-rounded, because it's kind of a little game for me. It allows me to compete with myself, if you will, and to try to be better and do better. Or if I have a day where I'm like, dang, I didn't eat enough vegetables, or I really, I ate a lot of protein things and bars and chips versus eating actual whole protein. And yeah, I felt really hungry all day long. Let me trial tomorrow eating more whole protein. Let me get some chicken. Let me have some turkey. Let me have some eggs and beans and see how I feel. So it allows you to do a lot of trial and error and really pinpoint if you're not aware of some of the things that you need to change and quickly adjust it. I always like people to take some notes of how they're feeling or how they felt after their day of eating. Was it a good day? Did you feel satisfied for the most part? Or were you just constantly hungry all day long? And it just allows you to start to make some of those connections between your food choices, maybe your lifestyle, maybe some outside stressors were impacting it. Maybe it was that time of the month impacting it. It allows you to just start to connect the dots. I am one for mindful eating as well. Intuitive eating is very helpful. But in terms of this video purpose and for people who really are just quickly trying to figure things out, mindful eating is something you should learn and be focused on during this process. But you can also still do that in combination with tracking and being aware of what your eating choices are and how many calories you're consuming at the end of the day, or macros if you want to take that approach. Some people track and they don't really look at the numbers at all. It's just more so to look at the food choices, and that's okay too. We all have different ways of utilizing these tools, so pick out which ones sound like they'll work best for you. Also, if you're trying to quickly lose weight, I'm not opposed to liquid calories. I'm not someone that's going to say you can never have liquid calories, because I like kombucha. I like a girly Starbucks drink. All right. I have my protein coffee in the morning. But if you are someone trying to lose weight and struggling with the hunger and fullness component, omitting more of those liquid calories and eating them in whole food is definitely going to make it easier for you to feel more satisfied and stay on track. So if you're someone that drinks a lot of juice or soda or alcohol, those things, I would say take them out for the week, see how you feel, take those calories and instead eat them via food. It will provide for you much more satiety. The more full we feel, we don't like to sit around with hunger. Let's just talk about that for a second. Many of us are not familiar and don't like that feeling of feeling hungry, right? It's just not a familiar feeling. It's something that gets very challenging during extreme dieting. I'm thinking bodybuilding. I've been there through those phases. It's very mentally challenging. It requires a lot of mental toughness to adapt and get through that, because we are just not used to having to feel hungry. So that is something that you have to think about too with your weight loss program, is knowing that it is okay to feel hunger. It is okay. And I'm not saying starve yourself, all right? Let's not take that out of context. But it's okay to feel hunger. It doesn't mean you're going to die. It doesn't mean you're not going to survive. It doesn't mean you won't make it to the next meal. So being able to recognize that you're hungry and that's okay, and maybe I needed to make a better choice so I didn't feel so hungry so quickly. You can assess it how you need to, but also know that it's okay to feel hungry sometimes. I could go on and on all day, as I always do with these types of videos and tips, but the last thing I want to mention too with helping you be successful and make changes in a week is have some accountability. And whether that is letting your significant other know, whether it's telling a family member, telling people at work, or if you want to keep it private, that's okay too. But having some means of keeping yourself accountable is really going to help assist you. And we have found that people need support. And those who work with a registered dietitian tend to be more successful with their weight loss goals and maintaining it. So maybe you're not able to work with a registered dietitian, or you don't really feel like you need to at this time. That's okay, but find someone who can be your accountability partner. Sometimes my sister is that person, or we're those people for each other if we're just trying to make better choices and be healthier or move more, and just have someone that you can kind of check in with and be like, hey, I'm kind of not feeling real motivated today. Just have someone that is a positive person that can support you and not enable you. Like, yeah, no, don't. Those people that try to push you to do the opposite of what you're trying to do? Avoid those people. You have to be kind of clear on what your goals are and what you want to achieve. So making some means of keeping yourself accountable, and you can keep it private, but maybe it means that once a week you check in with yourself, you do some measurements, you try on that pair of pants you want to feel better in. It can be as simple as that, but keep yourself accountable and have a plan for how you're keeping yourself accountable. The last thing I want you to work on that will significantly make a difference in as little as a week is focusing your efforts as well on sleep and stress reduction. So I know a lot of these tips are things you've heard before, but sometimes prioritizing and shifting those to the front of your goals can be absolutely everything you need to do. So if you're someone that is getting very little sleep, very poor sleep, if you don't have a means of tracking that, invest in something. Invest in a Fitbit. Invest in something that can not only track your movement, but also track those other things that impact our health. So something like sleep is so key to our hormones that then impact our hunger and satiety. They impact our stress levels. All of that is going to play into your ability to lose weight. And while those are things that you definitely have to work on long term and are just going to produce rapid weight loss results, they could sometimes make the difference of you being able to see weight loss in 1 week or not. So are you only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night because you're stressed out, you're on your phone, you're working too late, you're doing so many things? Maybe reprioritize your sleep in effort to really allow your body to do what it needs to do in the nighttime, to recover, to reset your hormones, to assist with all of that. That's going to help your body better function and kind of optimize how it should function to assist you with weight loss. The tips could go on and on and on. So I hope that this gives you a good starting point for your week. I hope you watch it. If you need to, add it to your save it for later list in case you need to come back to this. I'm here to help keep you motivated, inspire you, and remind you that sometimes these simple little things we need to get back to in effort to work towards our goals. And remember, you will have setbacks. It doesn't mean we need to give up on everything. So if you're someone that feels like you were just set back all weekend long and you feel bad about yourself, then stop, move forward. Definitely think about what you did and why you maybe feel bad, but let's just move forward and think about how you can be better going forward. That's it for me on this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.